Yo,
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 yo.
yo, let's get going. Beautiful, people. Welcome back.
I'm so young.
That's what we talking about.
I stay strong, and so I still move on, no matter what goes on.
Right here, Wefobz the Podcast coming at you.
Because I started from a far place. I'm all about the money making. Don't matter for any haters. No. Trying to push it different things.
Yes, we are.
Because I started from a far place. I'm all about the money making.
Ooh, well. Welcome, everyone, back to another Wefobz Podcast. You are in the presence of and being hosted by Chieflott,
dessert.
Gray,
Hey,
and guysosmooth. Lots of exciting new things once again to go over. You all looking at us and say, "Hey, what's going on here with the Wefobz Podcast?" One of the things is we've got a new avatar going. There was a literal company of, let's just say, technical difficulty that happened with my avatar. I'm gonna miss that guy, that coconut, but we've got a new fresh face in town. As you can see, everyone. Chief Gray, how y'all like my new avatar?
Handsome.
very spiffy.
Sexy. Well, we've got a lot of topics as usual to cover, and these are topics that we're interested in. But before we do that, we want to make this disclaimer. Everything we say and do here is for entertainment and educational purposes only. We do not pretend to be specialists in the topics we address or talk about or bring up, but we do so out of interest and curiosity. So, with that being said, we're going to give you our Wefobz mission. Can we please hear our Wefobz mission?
Absolutely. Wefob's mission to promote and encourage the changing of negative mindsets, stigmas, situations, and encounters into positive outcomes.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gents, boys and girls. That's the disclaimer in the Wefobz mission for our Wefobz podcast. And we're going to get, like some of my favorite YouTubers say, we're going to get right stuck into it. Hey. Gray, you ready? Chief, you ready?
Oh yeah, let's go.
All right. First topic of the day comes from updates in the news, especially in current news, world news, local news, your news. And we get these topics from the AP News. We can cite the sources if you really need them. So make sure to comment, like, share our podcast. Ask us questions if you want. We're going to be talking about China and Russia. China and Russia. What's going on with those two world superpowers? Well, Chief Gray, what's going on with them is in the news. China is considering giving Russia some war toys. You know, the US and its allies, or, US and NATO, already handing over a bunch of war toys, or should we say weapons of war, to Ukraine to help with the war where Ukraine is, trying to kick Russia out. China says they're considering giving some of that stuff to Russia. And of course, Big Daddy US, what was the saying for US? Uncle Freedom, what was it?
Uncle Sam?
Uncle Sam, there we go. He said, China, you better not. Don't do it. Don't act dumb. Don't act stupid. On the heels of that, there's other news. It's coming out of Canada. The Canadians are telling us in the US, or the US government, that, man, China also has spy buoys or boyus or whatever you call those things floating out in the ocean. We found some of them. We'll take them out. China. But then again, these people make it look like it's China and Russia, and we're against China and Russia. But when you come down to it, who's really the ones against who? Like, I've got a lot of Chinese friends. I mean, they're pretty cool people. China's a pretty cool place over there. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's just a battle between the ruler of the governments and the rulers of the government, the leaders in the government. And they're trying to make it look like, oh, it's the people against that people. Right? That's just the news on China and Russia. What have you two got from me? How is it looking on your end of the world based on that topic?
Ray, you got anything? All right, man. I'm just seeing it all over the news.
I think, yeah, it's like a repeat of this always happening every 3, 4, 5 years. Economies crashing. Somebody's economy is thriving and someone else's economy's misery. So I feel like a lot of the times when situations like that happen, of course, US of A is always going to be in the middle of it. So yeah, I think that's inevitable. That's bound to happen. I mean, historically, these are always the countries that are going to be in the middle of most chaotic situations that, yeah, I wouldn't expect any less, basically.
Mm.
Yeah, I understand now why U.S. always steps in, but man, let China and Russia deal with their own bullshit.
Yeah,
I don't see why we always got to keep going out there and being everybody's saving grace when we out here struggling out in the U.S. with our own issues that we're trying to deal with. It's so annoying hearing all these things. I know Chinese people and I know Russians. This is America, damn it. Like, and everyone's pretty cool. I mean, in their country, that really sucks is going on, but shit, get it together.
But it's almost like a level of politics and diplomacy. Is you gotta schmooze and make nice with other countries just because there's always something that they have that we need or that we want to keep our economy going. So of course it's like you don't really want to be not involved or too involved. It's almost like in the middle of yeah, I'm here, I got you, but I really don't. But yeah, I support you.
Realistically,
go ahead.
Realistically, what's the whole deal about America always interfering with this stuff, man? Like,
it's them dollar signs, brother.
Yeah.
Man, we saturated our own market here at home, so they gotta look for another market to sell their product, right? So you can only have so many McDonald's within the actual U.S. continent and its territories. You need to go out to the world where there's, China's got the largest population of people on the earth. Is it China or Africa? I gotta double check that.
China. It's like you want your business and your money to be global. You don't want to just keep it locally because there's always freaking a flux of the market going up and down, and so it's just safer to spread it all around because, well, when the market's down here, you have it thriving in whatever part of the world, and these are like some of the big players when it comes to the stock market and just, I don't know, anything pertaining to businesses that make this world go around, unfortunately.
Well, trying to add on to what you say, Gray, and why it's so important to the everyday person, especially Wefobz Nation members and the audience members tuning in. You're all like, so what do we care about China and Russia and that war going on with Ukraine and the U.S. trying to get involved? Why you care is because it affects the power of the dollar in your pocket. This is something that we talk about. We've been trying to talk about with our Wefobz podcast. Your dollar, you want to make sure your dollar has its worth when you go and buy something. Everybody remembers back in the days, back in the homeland, back in the islands, when Snickers used to be like 25 cents, even less than that, 32 cents, the Snickers bar. Inflation, the power of the dollar, it's not so powerful anymore. One Snickers bar costs upwards of $1, I guess. Making things expensive. So what goes on in China and Russia with this war with Ukraine and the US helping out Ukraine? Why is it important to us, the everyday people? It's affecting our money. It's going to affect where our money, with the, how much we're going to be able to earn from our jobs, how much we're going to be able to pass on to our kids if we have kids, or how much you're going to be able to spend out in the world. And man, like we've all been saying, Chief's been saying, Gray's been saying, and I've been saying, it's about the money. When the U.S. gets involved, it's about the money. And there's that funny, Gray, you brought out some points, and there's that, Chief, I know you, that funny meme that always goes on Facebook. It started on MySpace, where there's a American bald eagle, or there's the picture of Abraham Lincoln as Uncle Sam. Oh, those guys need some freedom. Let's go give it to them.
Yeah.
You guys remember that?
That's interesting because it's like, so any country, I think there's like two countries that are experiencing, some type of crisis. And I think, what was it, last year?
Mm-hmm.
That whole Ukraine thing, and they had like a certain amount of, Ukrainians migrating here. And then I think just recently they had another population of folks, I think it was from South America, that also, I forgot what it's called, when they come in legally, they get like a free visa pass. And I forgot what country it was, just recently. So they changed the laws here in California when it comes to immigration, undocumented folks, particularly housing. If you are undocumented, you kind of have to go through just a couple of legal steps to qualify you for housing, which is really crazy because from the time period of when the pandemic had started, you had that crisis, and then right into like a year later, you had that whole war with Ukraine, and then all these folks from Ukraine migrating here. And then just recently, I think it was, I don't know if it was a country out in South America, where they brought a lot more immigrants into the country. And so, I mean, that's actually capital right there. I mean,
right. So the U.S. knew how to use these people, but then, man, when you break it down, it goes within the districts and within the communities, right? Yeah. Everybody thinks it's always based on the U.S. president and stuff, but they don't understand everything's a hierarchy of command. It's broken down into the states themselves, and from the states to the districts, and from the districts to their, right? That's how it works, right?
Well, you have to lobby for, whatever policies that you're.
And one of the big upper hands for lobbying, like trying to get these things passed and stuff, or rules or laws or policies in your favor, you gotta have a lot of money to back you up.
Yeah, well, California is notorious for that. I mean, we support where, unfortunately, I mean, it's a good thing. Everybody deserves to be in a home. However, to what extent do we allow that to, especially for taxpayers? I mean, my goodness. Anyhow, sorry, I'm going into a whole nother.
That's pretty cool. It's a topic it's a topic that's related to our China and Russia. Everything's related, and
that's
you
like
bring
the
up
impact of these countries and the politics behind it. Like, even though you don't really hear America in there, they're in the mix, and it's like I don't know. I just see dollar signs.
Exactly. Well, you brought up taxpayers' money, and you and I think, had this discussion way before a lot of podcasts, like with immigration, and our taxpayer money is paying for these undocumented immigrant things. like benefits, or whoever is getting benefits living off food stamps and stuff.
Yeah.
And I know I talked to you about it, and I talked to Chief about it. It's a penny in the bucket what is spent on these social programs from taxpayer dollars. But the actual real chunk of that taxpayer dollars, which is proven by statistics, if you look at it, is going to the politicians and the military. And when I say military, it's not the military soldiers themselves, because those soldiers, you can tell, I got a lot of family members and friends who are soldiers. You know, hate to say they're a little bit underpaid, but that chunk of money is going to the top brass. That's that. There's also that thing where I think there was that push to try to get the congressmen, like if we start lowering their terms to 2-year terms, start lowering their salaries to like $30,000 a year, that should probably get them moving in directions that the people want.
That's ridiculous.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, everybody thinks that the social programs that take all the taxpayers' dollars, no, the U.S. will play with your money, make military weapons, sell that stuff to places like Ukraine, or give it to places like Ukraine, like billions of dollars, like nothing. And then they will say, oh, we can't give you Medicaid, we can't give you Social Security, we can't give you food stamps, we can't give you this, yada, yada, yada. It's sad to see and to know about these things, but nonetheless, Wefobz Nation, Chieflott Gray, we must cover, we must explore, we must navigate these troubled waters.
You know, I was thinking when those laws came into place here in California, I was like, man, as a Samoan and as a Polynesian, I was thinking this is the perfect time for a lot of Samoans from Samoa and Tonga to actually go and do their, you know, not the citizenship piece, but if you're undocumented, you really need to look into it, because if you're trying to get, you know, a lot of the benefits that U.S. citizens have, now's the perfect time, because there's not too much of red tape around it. And so
yeah, there's not that many blocks anymore.
Yeah,
they're making it easy.
Yeah, there really isn't. And so I think that, you know, I'm not opposed to folks from other countries trying to come out here and to make it, you know.
But do it the right way.
Yeah. Well, there is no such thing as a right way either, because we have a broken system. However, that is my opinion. It's more of, you know, finding the loopholes that would really help support, you know, any individual or family trying to come in. And I think you guys covered a topic on that.
Exactly. So Chief, it goes back to what Chief says. At the end of the day, it's about how you take care of yourself and your family, and pass on that generational wealth. That's why you're going to take the risk to become an undocumented person somewhere, go live in a place you know nothing about. You're trying to find a better life for your family and for yourself.
Yeah.
So what we're putting out there to the Wefobz Nation from Gray and Chief, hustle, man. Like, they're giving, the U.S. is opening up these possibilities to you.
Get your California ID right now. Because you can qualify, just go get it.
Man, why are we talking about all this? Chief, come on. You got anything to say, man? You've been a little quiet down there, bro.
I don't want to sound naive and ignorant, you know, talking about these situations. I don't know what the politicians, how they work and flow. All I know, I can't stand them for shit.
Exactly. Like, Chief, so I want to ask you, how do you deal with, like, when you come up against these people, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with the annoyance of these people? What do you do? Give us some tips, some hacks, some life hacks.
Yeah, turn them to God. Change the subject.
Word.
Really, I can't even entertain it, you know, because I have my point of views around it is completely different, right? I think we go back to the basics and focus on your family and establish financial gains, kind of build the momentum, work around your community, and get involved. I just think it's been broken for so many years. We need to go back to the basics and kind of start all over. Knowing that everything ties to money feels like we're being used. It really sucks. I mean, like,
it does. It does. And I know I put both of you onto the game of the dollar, like the whole history of the dollar when it was backed by gold, but it's not backed by gold no more. It's backed by U.S. debt. Like people being in debt, that's what backs up the power of the dollar. And that's all in what Wefobz Nation's trying to bring to you, everybody. And once again, this all relates back to our topics of China and Russia and why we're talking about it. We talked about it because it's fresh out there in the news. Man, that. There's a lot to say there. Thanks, you too. Oh man.
Yeah, if you want to go on, man, that debt value to dollar is funny because that's how the millionaires become millionaires.
Yes.
Right? Like that's a whole other ball game and another system that's being played on another level. So
right.
We'll save that for the other stuff.
Ooh.
Crazy.
Right. Man. Love it. We heated it up already with that first topic. And I'm glad because I think it brings us into the second topic that I'd like for us to discuss here on our podcast for today or tonight or wherever anyone's listening or watching. And this topic will set the stage for a lot of the Wefobz topics going forward. So you definitely don't want to miss out on what we're going to be talking about here. Okay? Let's talk about Chief and Gray. Let's talk about taboos and unwritten or unspoken rules as it relates. I'm gonna bring it home. Because if I do it in general, it's gonna be too much to talk about. As it relates to this medium, this platform, podcasting, news, putting the word out there. Taboos. Right? So why I want to focus on this topic. What I want to know is why would different subject matters be taboo to talk about? How are they tabooed? And what does it mean for us? Like us as Wefobz. With that being said, I also added in there unwritten or unspoken rules. You go to a party and there's like an unwritten or unspoken rule that you don't do this or you don't do that. If you go to a meeting for your job, a meeting for your church, a meeting for your abode, there's always these unspoken rules. Even within the classroom, if you're going to school, unspoken rules or unwritten rules. And I look at that as part of being taboos. The word taboo itself comes from our people, from our Polynesian community. Taboo. A lot of the Polynesian and the Oceanian, even that at worldwide, because gotta include the Melanesians, Micronesians, they have this word, taboo, right? So why is my avatar laughing? What the? Okay. Yeah, ladies and gents, that was a little freaky there. I did not laugh. Hey, Avatar, stop. That AI, man. That AI is scary. Artificial intelligence. Wefobz is trying to put a lasso on it and make use of it, and it's over here trying to overwrite what we do. Anyhow, is that taboo? You like that? Is it taboo? Once again, taboo. When we talk about taboo subjects, there's so many taboo subjects out there. Like within our communities, I know it's taboo to talk about the subject of questioning God, right? Questioning certain religions that people are in and stuff like that. Taboos on sexuality. Taboos on ageism. Taboos on race. Taboos on gender. Why is something taboo? Okay, I open up the floor. Is that a little too heavy? Could I rewind?
Greg, you're gonna have to say something because we kind of went over this, and I just
Yeah.
I almost regretted this whole thing. Right? Like, oh gosh,
We got to.
I know
like,
it's a little that's why I was saying it. I think with taboos, it's almost it depends. Like for like specifically focused on our Polynesian population, every culture has its customs and its norms that we, we also have our values that really influence what our belief systems are. So I feel like within just for me personally, it's however I grew up. You don't wear your hair down at night. You don't wear a say at night, a red say, or you don't wear a lot of perfume at night because you have your interesting friends that come out and play.
Wait, Greg. Okay. Slow it down right there, because some of our audience members don't know what a say is. A say is a flower put in your ear. So Gray is telling you don't wear your hair. It's for women or for men?
For women.
So for women, you can't, if you have long hair, especially if you have long black hair, long red hair, long black hair and red hairs. I've noticed this within our culture. She's saying don't have your hair hanging down at nighttime. Okay.
Yeah.
He's saying don't have it. This is in our culture, in the Samoan culture, within the Samoan motherlands.
Well, I can't speak for everybody else, but I mean for myself,
from her experience, this is what she's saying. And then she said you can't wear a flower in your ear at night, right? That's the other. Yeah. So these are taboos within our culture. Yeah, and then I'm asking the question, why is it taboo? And she just gave you the answer, because there's those little friends that come out, spook the hell out of you. And we say, our parents are telling us, or should I say the moms and grandmas are telling us, they'll take your soul.
It's almost like that literal saying. Well, it's actually a song, and it's more along the lines of what is it? What is that song I just said? It freaks come out at night. That's actually literally. And I feel, and I'm not gonna go to the biblical sense of that, but technically that is when you got, little demons running around at night. And I feel like with that upbringing, and then also in my own personal understanding of my my walk with Christ, like it's evident that it exists. And I feel like before Christianity arrived to the Samoan Islands, we were considered pagan worshipers. We worshipped the rock. We worshipped, the ocean.
Pagan.
And which is, I feel like probably when you look at it from a Christian perspective, that's anything but God, and therefore, it makes it paganism. And so, and I say that respectfully. I don't know if that's respectfully, but it is anything that isn't of him is considered of the world. And so
love it. Keep going, girl.
I think that a lot of even our taboos, my own personal ones, were also based off of the Christian values that we picked up on when the missionaries arrived and colonialized the Samoan Islands. And I think that at a time like that, it was probably, I don't know if it was confusing, but it was really trying to understand, a whole new concept of beliefs coming in and infiltrating our own beliefs as Samoans and as voyagers. So the studies say that we were navigators. And I think a lot of that has a lot of play into how our ancestors have raised us. And a lot of our history is through oral history, through our music. And so I think that plays a pivotal role in what we define as, appropriate or acceptable. And I think that, in every little clan and family, you have your own, roles or norms of what's expected of you. And so I think as a Samoan woman, you you hear a lot of that stuff. It's like, what? Don't try to be beautiful, or don't try to I think fast forward 2023, like a lot of it as a person, period, is it's about wellness and taking care of yourself, because it is a reflection of who you are, right? And I'm looking back, and I'm thinking, golly, well, you couldn't really present yourself as, wanting to be too attractive to a demon, because you might get um a little transaction of
Deep,
whatever.
deep, deepness, right?
I'm just saying.
A little transaction.
Loving this.
But I feel like it's so important to also understand that a lot of that stuff is also biblical, and in the context of how you are receiving it and accepting it. So when I say accept, I don't mean accept as in that's that I'm okay with it. I accept it as it is a part of history, and it is part of the word, and that if you're not guarded and careful, you can allow that demonic force, or our little demon friends that hang out in the middle of the night, to take over. And so which is why I was looking at taboos. I don't know, it could be, like I said, everybody has their own, however they grew up, and in their own home. And those are just some of the things. I think one of the other taboos was also sweeping at night. You can't you can sweep your home, but you can't sweep it out of the house, because
that's so awesome, because I'll give you guys a game on that one, because I was able to talk to some people from around the world. That's not a taboo that just only sticks for us Samoan culture. It's actually a taboo in many other cultures as well. Really? And it's pretty cool. Yeah, especially the Irish. That's it goes back to my time when I kind of did this thing where the Ghost Hunters International came to American Samoa to do a little spooky video up in a place called Aotearoa. But so I got to interact with the video crew and the guys that were actually on the show, right? It was a sci-fi channel show, the first of its kind. It was actually on my side, it was done for entertainment purposes. But they said the same thing about the whole sweeping deal, right? And yeah, you can't sweep at night, because, and if you did, they actually word for word, you won't sweep at night. And if you do sweep at night, don't sweep it out the door.
Yeah.
And they were saying, what happens if you sweep it out the door? And I guess on their side, you'll go broke. You'll be broke. You have no money. Everything will be taken away from you, is what they're saying. Man, wow, great, Chief. I'm going to hold you guys on your thoughts there, just to give everyone, we're talking about taboo. The topic is taboo. I want to give everyone the definition so they have something to grab onto. Like we say, we like to entertain and educate. So if you go on Google and you Google the word taboo, Taboo, you're brought a definition from the Oxford Languages Dictionary. So there's three versions of it: the noun, the adjective, and the verb. The noun definition of taboo is a social or religious custom prohibiting or forbidding discussion of a particular practice, or forbidding association with a particular person, place, or thing. Okay. The adjective of the word taboo: prohibited or restricted by social custom. Okay. For the noun, they said an example would be, many taboos have developed around physical exposure, meaning if you go out naked and stuff, that's taboo. And the adjective example is sex was a taboo subject. That's an adjective example use of taboo. And then there's the verb use of taboo: placed under prohibition. And their example that they provide right there is traditional societies taboo female handling of food during a certain period. Taboo. Carry on. Carry on. Carry on.
I think it's interesting how they threw the religious part in it, because I feel like, without making it a biblical conversation, there's a lot of the whole prohibiting, and I think, did you say sacred or something?
Yes.
And religious.
Here's what they say.
I think that it's almost
social,
like a negative
religious custom or association with a particular person, place, or thing.
Yeah, because it makes it sound restrictive, and I feel like in a time where biblically, there were laws that were handed down to, God's people. And I think that even in that same time of where, we would overthrow the laws of God and, do our own thing, that there was always the constant, we mess up and then he brings something else, and then just a slew of
yeah,
like reoccurring,
reoccurring disasters, the flood, the freaking, he made salt everything out of Sodom and Gomorrah. Oh my gosh.
Why does it feel like Samoa?
I know, right? And they scare you with this. It's taboo subject, so we're that's why we're going over it. And I'm asking the question: why taboo? What happens to us? I think, Gray, you brought up a lot of good points. What our ancestors and our elders are telling us, what happens to us, the what do you call the consequences of breaking a taboo is you're gonna get a demon or a entity that we cannot comprehend within our reality will hurt you. That's what they're trying to say, why these taboos exist. And I think it just starts bleeding into many other things and other issues that cover, the world and even the modern day world today. And we've been doing a lot of time. Chief, you have any experience? You got any words for us on taboo? What's up?
Yeah, there's a lot. You guys covering a lot. So back at home, very influenced by the Christianity belief. I'll say it straight up. I'm very thankful for that, because that's how I was able to understand and learn who God is. And then in back home, the influence of the culture, putting those together, it looks like we struggle with that back home. Differentiating the difference of being a person of faith and being a Samoan in general. You guys follow along what I'm saying? Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
I think I'm catching on. Keep going.
And I think that's where, even to today, we struggle with that, right? And the more we seek the Word of God, just by learning, and we're raised that way, we make our decisions to follow our faith. It still raises the question, like, why are we still allowing this to happen? Because I'm seeing a lot of other different things, right? I've seen Christian gatherings where, the culture is more heavily rooted over religion or over the belief. I've always wondered, like, I thought we were here to praise God, and yet when it gets down to the nitty gritty, it seems like the culture trumps over God. So I thought that was one crazy one. And then when you see some congregations that actually, I never seen it in Samoan, but I have seen it in Tongan. Not in Samoa, but out in the mainland, where they partake kava within their chapel. Yeah, very confusing for me, but what's that?
But that's like equivalent to wine. I feel like, it's a different type of, liquid, but it's still.
Well, you two are bringing up a point, like, with the taboo. Okay, what's the taboo we're addressing? The taboo is not to have kava in the church and not to have wine in the church? What's the taboo we're addressing? That's where it's coming from. And I see both of your guys' points, like Gray's point, because wine, that's a lot with the Roman Catholics and the Lokaiki, the Christian. What is Lokaiki now called? It's not LMS. What's it called now?
It's congregation.
Congregation. They have the wine. They use wine too, right? But I also see where a chief is coming from.
Much. Why are you playing?
Oh, fruit.
Just kidding. No, I think it's juice. I mean, I think some other churches may use wine. I don't, but
yeah, but I see where a chief is coming from, like the use of kava within the church. And then you gotta come down to what is kava classified as, because I know it's not classified as alcohol.
Yeah, it's a traditional drink, or like it's ceremonial, but I don't think I think that I agree with what you're saying. Lots. I just like anything in life, balance, and I feel like the cultural piece of our identity is a beautiful thing, and it's also a gift. However, when it supersedes, our worship to who he is to us, that therein lies the problem. And that just goes to show like where a congregation's faith is at, where it's heavily at, because you can still practice a lot of your cultural roots. It's just, again, with that, the fruits of the spirit, the fruits of your work is going to supersede whatever it is that, people are going to view as, oh, well, you do more falablaves in your church than you actually do worship. However, I feel like a very blessed and fruitful organization. I mean, church is a progressive and a very well developed organization. Church, it's just, sometimes I think as Samoans and as Polynesians in the United States and in other Western countries, we're still finding our identity in a pool of these Western countries and societies, and to like fully practice our belief system. Sometimes I feel like it's the cultural piece is to help us acclimate to the societies that we live in, and the religion part is that's more personal. And that's why I say, like, I feel like as individuals and as families and as clans, it's really up to us to really find that balance and fine tune it to where it's not just about you being Samoan and you having that Samoan pride. It's really like, I mean, technically, what is being Samoan? And I feel like my definition of it is anybody who honors and worships him and loves like him, brown skinned, with the Samoan tattoos or not, or anybody who is and practices their roots, but in simultaneously also worshiping him in anything and everything that they do. And so, with that said, like, I hear what you're saying, lots. However, I think we as Samoans, I think specifically out here in the United States, like, you're around a lot of subcultures. And I feel like for families that are migrating to the US and not really fully connected to how it works out here, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a minute to, for the fast-paced life and the expectations of living here and being a part of this community, it's going to take a while to like really acclimate. And I think, with that said, respectfully, sometimes it can also be a hindrance, and it can also really break families. And it can also really make families question who they are and who the people are in their lives, because it's a whole nother cha-cha out here. And I feel like if you have that foundation as far as, that relationship with him, you're probably gonna, not probably, you are gonna do beautiful. And I mean, so yeah, sorry, I'm all over the place with that, but you know what I mean.
Well, and then it goes back to, I think that's probably why they put the taboos in place, where you can't speak on stuff or whatever. They want you to remain within these moral standards or moral borders that they put you in. But I'm gonna put a heavy one on both of you. What if we go over to the other side of the spectrum? Then we start dealing with atheists and people who don't believe in God, or who worship another, within their different religions, and they have their different taboos over there. All being said, why is something taboo? We've gone across some of those points. We say something's taboo. We set the standard that some of our ancestors and our elders believe that something bad will happen to you if you broke a taboo within a cultural norm. When it deals with cultural things, for us, it was the Samoan culture and the different things in the Samoan culture that happens. And when we're talking about you're going to get hurt, they believe in different entities existing outside of the realm of our reality that can come and hurt you or take your life. That's what they believe. That's how bad it is. And that's why they put these taboos, once again, taboo, like these restrictions there on what we can and cannot do. And then we come to where Chieflott and Gray started addressing religion, and then in a sense towards Christianity more focused, because we're heavy Christianity out in the Polynesian community, especially the Samoan community, heavy Christian community out there, divided into different branches of Christianity as well. But then there's also taboos there, ladies and gents, boys and girls, and the taboos were from their discussion, from Gray's discussion with Chief, it was put in place for moral guidance, I believe. If you two agree, the taboos put in place for the religious standards, put in place for moral guidance and moral standards, so that, and Gray says it's a form of keeping balance, because Chief has had his run-in with different things that he finds uncomfortable to him in a sense, or kind of out there, like, therefore when the culture combines with, you have a culture combined with Christianity, the way Christianity rolls. And then I brought up, and the other side of the spectrum, then there's the atheists who have their own beliefs on, like, oh, we just believe in science, or we believe in whatever. But then I'm gonna bring it back to the word taboo. Why are things taboo? Things are taboo to me. We're trudging along on it to keep you safe. Well, other people believe to keep you safe. We believe things are taboo to keep us safe. Why are there unspoken and unwritten rules? Once again, same thing. To keep you from getting hurt, or to keep you from going down the wrong path, I guess. Then again, the subject matters we're going to start to cover, so a lot of people find taboo, as in subject matters questioning religion, subject matters questioning these other realities that we spoke of, demons. We just talked about UFOs and the other ones, ladies and gents. This is why we're addressing the whole topic on taboo. Man, did I miss anything there? Any other experiences you both had with this unspoken rules, unwritten rules, or taboos? Because I've got a bunch, but
yeah, I think a lot of it, because you had mentioned Ataloma and the paranormal. I feel like a lot of that too is to also curb off that bad juju, or whatever the demons. And I feel like there's studies that when you are taking part in mind altering substances, one of the things that they say is that when you go too far with any form of substances, what it does is it unlocks, like, into a whole nother dimension. It's almost like
Unlock
opening a
another
door.
part of the human consciousness.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's studies with mushrooms and why they're about to try to legalize mushrooms.
Yeah.
Big in California right now.
Yeah. And that's so dope. I think that's pretty fascinating. But I also think it's you kind of have to be careful too, to where
You have to put a taboo on it.
well, not even put a taboo on it, but it's just one of those things to where, like, I mean, I feel like the taboos are there to protect us and to safeguard us, but there's also studies, even biblically, that those dimensions do exist. And if you're not like heavily vested into the studies, you are probably going to get lost in the, I don't want to say the word, but you probably might get lost in it to where you don't find your way back.
There's that saying, when you stare into the abyss stares back.
Yes, and then it engulfs you, and then it's peace out, and then it's
Talk to us, Chief. Talk to us. Add some more to this conversation because I'm liking the way it's going.
I think, especially for the Christians, right? Like they're heavily in the, man, I think whether you realize it or not, it's like believing in God and the spirit realms. That's another dimension of its own as well.
Yeah.
Or it's in the same realm that the demonic side exists. So,
oh my gosh. See, right there, we're already getting on a subject that a lot of people classify as taboo. Right there, Chief, you just said it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's hard to wrap my head around it because
it's mind-blowing, right? I mean,
no, it's perfect. That's what exactly why it's taboo. That's what I get it. Like just, and that's where the faith comes in. Like, as long as our faith is intact.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the good and the evil. It's to protect you from all these demonic spirits or anything that could just negate your opportunities to do anything in life and navigate through, because the interference of this dimensional that's happening, I mean, it sounds corny, but realistically, I mean,
well, you know what, Chief? You know what, Gray? You really, man, I can really straddle the line of taboo-ness in the topic of good and evil. I think Chief knows this very well, because when I start asking the questions, I will straddle that line, and that's one of the reasons I want to bring up the topics of taboo. We don't want to offend a lot of people, but then some of the topics we bring up may just do just that. Please understand, we just had our disclaimer just a moment ago. We're not pretending to be specialists on the matter, but we do want to address it because of curiosity. And this is what I talked to you too about it before the podcast. A lot of people may take it wrong because when we address like a subject that is taboo, they may say the reason why you're putting it on your podcast. When you put something out there from your platform, people assume that you support this topic. Does that make sense to both of you in the terms of taboo subjects? Like, if we put a topic out there that's very controversial, people say, wow, these guys are talking about this. They support that topic. And I'm saying that, you two bringing up good and evil, you go back to the roots of good and evil. Who do people look at within Christianity as good and evil? I'm going to take you guys along. I'm going to take you guys for a ride right now. Here we go. Who do you both look at as good and evil from the realm of Christianity? Tell me. Who is the two main figures that represent good and evil to us in Christianity?
Man, that's real deep, man. This
is why I'm talking about taboo. So is it taboo to talk about this subject? That's where we're coming from, Wefobz Nation. We will get into these topics and this evidence. Because
I don't think it's taboo.
The answer, okay, what I'm trying to get, you guys still didn't answer me. Who are the two figures that represent good and evil within Christianity? Who represents good?
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Oh, let's go beyond Jesus Christ. Who represents good beyond Jesus Christ?
Well, my answer. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Like my answer would be the Trinity. That's.
There we go. And then who represents evil within Christianity? Everybody knows, right? Well, us as Christians, we know. Before they used to say, "He that shall not be named," but then he has a name that everybody sees in the Bible, and they're always told about it. Because if you go to his world, they say you will burn in fires of hell, which he is the king of hell, they say, right? So within the topics of Christianity, then you figure out a taboo subject, if we were to bring it up, and if I was to straddle that line, and the questions that I like, that I wouldn't say I like to ask, but the questions that pop up in my mind and why I want to bring taboos and unwritten and unspoken rules is, but we Wefobz Nation, man, you gotta understand the curiosity hits real hard. So I would ask the question, why is he the one that is, his name is Satan, so everybody know that, Satan, right? Lucifer. Why is Lucifer classified as evil? Why is evil evil?
Well, I'm no pastor or anything like that to even touch all that.
No, but those are questions like, these are questions, are they taboo questions? Yeah, to a lot of people, taboo questions.
I think, yeah, well, on this platform, it can be because it's equivalent to social media. However, I think it would be not even so much safe. It's just, what was your question? Sorry. Sorry.
So why is Satan classified as evil?
Because he's not of him, and anything that isn't of him, it's not him. It's not of him. Satan's not of love. He was a former angel.
So mind you, these are not questions coming from me. These are actually questions being around atheist communities and people I've experienced who they've asked these questions of me too. And I've had to go brainstorm over it because I was in a little island of my own thinking, man, Christianity is beautiful and all that stuff.
Yeah, because it'd be like that sometimes.
But then that's why I say the whole subject of taboo is like, if it's talked about on a platform, people imply that, okay, you guys are supporting that. No, it's not that we're supporting it. We are deciding to stroke our curiosity. And then even saying that, there's a taboo on, people say, oh, curiosity killed the cat. Where did that saying come from? Why is there a taboo on being curious? Why is there a taboo on us speaking out against, in American Samoa, there's a kind of like an unwritten rule or an unspoken rule about speaking out against ruling classes. Literally, it's out there. People at the top, right? From personal experience, I can say that. Why is it taboo though? Goes back to, it's taboo because you will get damaged, you will get hurt, you will get they will do things to you that are negative. And
yeah, I think there's too much light we're shining. Well, there's a fine balance because we're negative things will happen. The negative things, consequences can happen, but then there's also another bright side. There's another side of the fence.
Two sides to every coin, right? Corn. So, I'm fobbing out. We fob.
So it's a beautiful thing at the end of the day, man. Like it's a matter of making your choice. You get to choose what side of the fence you want to stand on.
Yeah.
I met an atheist too. I met a couple.
Yeah.
And sharing, just sharing. And then I just told him, I was like, what the big question, what made you an atheist? Trip this out, man. The common thing I heard was, well, first, they don't understand. They're naive to the whole Christianity or any faith in anything. Because they're just, for example, like the ones I encounter that I encountered
from your personal experience. Yep.
Right? They're just like, I was like, well, it seems like more you're on one side of the fence, and that's all you know, and no one's actually introduced you to the other side. And they're like, yeah, I've never heard of it. You know what I mean? It's like, I guess that was the whole planting the seed at that point. I'm just like, well, if we give an opportunity to, you know, to share the gloriness of being on the other side, I think you'll make a better decision, right? And they're like, yeah, they embraced it. I didn't have any, like, it was pure, like, the gospels never got to them. I think that's what the case was. And once they receive it, and they're like, I get it. Like, well, they totally get it. I was like, would you still consider yourself an atheist? And like, I don't know.
I love that because, as Gray said, it's a balance being brought to one's life, right, Chief? And there's balance being brought there. And then I bring up, why would you want to bring atheists to this side? What happens when it becomes the other way around? And those are the different taboos that I guess the different things that I'm trying to tell people. We will cover topics that are controversial at times, have two sides to the coin. You may have your opinions, you may have your where you truly stand and your righteousness and stuff, but please do understand, people, we agree to disagree. We love to hear from you on that side, and we love to have that open discussion. And she said it a lot about, and I think that's what Elon Musk is trying to put out there, like with his whole Twitter deal. Have open speak to everybody and let everybody regulate what they're gonna take in and stuff. Just a side note on that, because we covered that topic a couple of podcasts previously.
Yeah, I just think to sum that part up is I think when you understand both sides of it, and you're not naive to the one or the other, doesn't matter if you're from one or the other side, and then you can make your sound decision, because essentially it boils down to your choice. And for my faith, it's actually going through the process of being an actual born again Christian, right? So, and then however way you cut and slice it, that's between you and the big man upstairs. So balance is kind of like having a fair shot to see both sides and make a sound decision. And
sound decision that will affect the way you go going forward, and you definitely want to affect it in a more, what Chief is trying to put us onto is you want to affect it in where you benefit from it.
I mean, your soul is being jeopardized if you don't know where it's going to go, right? Because the other realm we're talking about, we're talking about demonic spirits, and we're talking about the Holy Spirits, right?
And we already went there, ladies and gents. There's a taboo that we just broke just by saying that out there, because a lot of people want to address that. Oh, don't say that there's demons in there. But then I think there's that big thing. I used to see this pastor, a TV pastor, he used to say it, and I really do believe, because if you read through things in the gospel and whatever, and you go through your Christian beliefs and your true, honest spiritual beliefs with God, in a sense, if you're on earth, there's a thing that the best fake that they always say that the best fake that the devil put out there was making people believe he never existed, right? And that Chief is saying, you got to know both sides. You got to know that side, and you got to know this side. You got to know of the light and of the dark, as Gray said, of evil and good. But we're gonna come here. We're gonna come and ask you the hard questions, like, why is it evil? Why is it good? Which side did you end up on? Would you come to this side, or would you go to that side? Why?
I think, to add to what Lot was saying, is that, sorry, Chief, I've always had a hard experience with really answering those questions with, I work with a lot of hippies and atheists and just people who don't believe, which is sometimes it does get, like, I get offended like, not like verbally, but I can feel it in my heart when I hear people say Jesus, or what's one of those common sayings that people say when they get upset, or Jesus Christ.
Like that.
Yeah, but then it's kind of like for me, so instead of like correcting them, I just ask them politely, hey, if you don't mind, it really offends me when you say that, but I'll say it privately to them because I just don't know how to explain it, but I do get really. And so because I have a hard time having those conversations in the workplace like that, I really just try to walk it and emulate that, before people. So that way I don't get offended and probably just turn off that person from my purview, because then it's like, I don't want to talk to you. And even that in itself isn't good. And so I think for me, it's just more of, killing it with kindness and doing right by people, because ultimately at the end of the day, that isn't Christ-like. And it's funny because I have a lot of young staff members, right? And so, when I have folks who, do the most, and then I have to have those fun conversations. I always tell them, I say, you don't, I don't believe in, where am I going with this? Basically, I don't have to go out of my way or nobody has to go out of their way to sabotage a person's character. You can do that on your own without the help of anybody, especially me. And so, I say that because it's like anything that's done maliciously, you're going to reap what you sow in that respect. And, holding that to a T on all levels, even if you have disagreements with your peers or with colleagues. And I think that, sometimes that in itself, it's kind of like, it's hard to swallow that, because yeah. And I guess what I'm saying is, like, you bring up the atheist part, for me personally, because I do have a hard time with that, I just try to kill it with kindness. And trust me, because Jesus has been working a lot with me on that. So more power to you lots, because
I used to feel the same way too. But that's what I'm saying, like understanding both sides of the fences and seeing it for what it is, and then making my sound decision to be a believer and to have faith in it, because through my walks, through my experiences, through my failures, through everything, I'm very content to say, like, and very confident to say that I am grateful to God for everything, right? So when I encounter stuff like that, on all honesty, when I hear them do something like that and it is offensive to me, all I can think about is, like, they're in a sad place. They don't understand. They're naive.
Yeah.
Galify. So, like, pray for them instead, and just kind of, because you don't want to let that negative energy overwhelm us, and just practicing that over and over just kind of helped out. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, man, you need someone to talk to, holler at me.
Yeah. Let me give you a hug, like a hug, fist pump hug.
All right, man. Well, in a sense, I'm glad you two worked that out, because in the long term, though, what it sounds to me is it wasn't intentional on their part. It was more ignorance in their terms, and not understanding the whole, and with not understanding within the Christian beliefs and what we hold dear. That's what it looks like to me when people say words like that.
Yeah.
Because it's also, it's an adverse effect of their surroundings and what they hear from their parents, or they hear from their friends and stuff like that. So that happens. And it is sad. It does pull at your heartstrings when it's said out in public, and it does offend Christians in the sense that, like how you say you were offended, Gray. It does. It happens. And again, once again, Chief has said it before, knowing both sides of the coin, praying for those people when they have their thing, when they have that moment. Yeah. I'm addressing this because that's, people call it, that was a taboo subject. Is it taboo to talk to them like that within the confines of the workplace? I know the U.S. government has made something like that happen. Like you can't bring your religion into the workplace or anything like that. They did that on purpose for definitely this reason. They made it taboo.
Technically, you can't, but if you do bring up anything pertaining to anybody's religion, it is discrimination. Yes. And which is why, like, for me, it has worked because they won't say things like that in front of me. And if they do and it slips, they'll apologize afterwards. So for me personally, on my end, I'm not looking for any respect. However, I do want you to respect the fact that I asked you not to say that in front of me because it does offend me.
Yes, it brings up the great point about why we're talking about taboos. Like, why were things made taboo? Moral, keeping us to a moral structure, or keeping us from being hurt or something like that. The personal person that's being hurt. But then you two getting to, like people wanting to respect what our beliefs are and what our cultures are. That word, that whole thing, there was an idea behind it, and they actually coined a phrase out of it. It's called being woke. Do you two know that? Being woke means having consideration for another person's cultural, social, and economical standings, and in consideration of that, you kind of empathize with them and sympathize with them and try not to cross those borders too much. And I think that's the reason why I wanted to bring up taboos too, is because a lot of our viewers need to understand the being woke part has been taken in, like, and then it comes up to this whole thing. Chief and I talked about a cancel culture. So they took, like, cancel culture. There was an article written about it. It's the dark side of the being woke culture. I mean, the being woke idea, which is, we have so many different cultures and religions within the United States itself. Like, you can only be, like, aware of so many, right? And the Chief brings up, man, don't be ignorant to them, though.
Yeah.
You may step on it, like you say, Gray, man. There may come a time where I let it slip, but it's awesome that they're coming and say, "Oh, sorry, we didn't mean it," right? Yeah. To reply back, to connect back with you and say, "We didn't mean it like that," or whatever. But there are times when even though they say it, but it's like it still hurt. Like, man, you still walked over my beliefs. You still walked over my, my sense of belonging, my sense of awareness, my sense of feeling grounded and rooted. These are the tough parts.
I think it's what for the space part, and I think it's that part, creating a safe space in that boundary to where don't get too comfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and where there's understanding, there's balance.
We always want, respect. To me, I think it boils down to respect, right? Like,
yeah,
like you might not be used to it, but from where I come from and I'm raised from, this is how things are. Like I do have a problem if you're over here trying to put on our Samoan tattoo on your shoulder. I'm not saying I do. I'm just saying, like, there's just a ton of things that we can address, and then we can just. My head is going all over the place with this, like.
No, because again, because you know what, I'm telling you two, you two are coming up against the traditional taboos that we have in place for our beliefs and what we see within where we were being brought up as. And then, like you said, Gray, like, you call yourself Samoan if you're brown skinned, you worship him, and your roots. On my end, I said, man, you're Samoan if you have bloodline that connects back to the land that is called Samoa and the people that call themselves after the land. But are those taboo subjects to talk about? To our audience, it may be taboo to them. To us, we will cover, and we just don't want to offend you. We don't want to make everybody feel offended by what we cover, ladies and gents. That's where we're going with all of this, because we're going to get into a lot of these topics. And you already see from Gray and Chief, though we've only touched the tip of it, we're talking about religion here and spirituality. We haven't even covered the physical side. We haven't even covered the political side. We haven't even covered the economical side of it. And then the social relations with this topic of taboos. So much, so little time. You two, I think it's time we took a little break before we get into our next topics for the podcast. So give everybody a refresher. Go get some ice cream, some good drinks, some cold water. Freshen up. What do you both think, Chief? Great?
Copy.
All right. We'll be back right after these messages. So Wefobz is brought to you by Wefobz Enterprise, and we're talking about the Wefobz Nation store. You're going to definitely want to check out the Wefobz Nation store. There's a bunch of things over there that you probably want to pick up. The Wefobz Nation store sells a lot of things that Wefobz Nation members are interested in. Check it out. We've got cool merchandise over there. We've got also things pertaining to, interests such as anime, utensils from the kitchen, whatever. The whole friggin' lot of them. We also got bestseller section in that Wefobz Nation store. In our bestseller section, you can find everything that Wefobz Nation members usually order on sites such as Amazon and so forth. We are an Amazon affiliate, so whenever you're clicking or you're buying something from our Wefobz Nation store's bestseller section, you're definitely investing into Wefobz. And there you have it, Wefobz at Wefobz.io. Wefobz. And we are back. Back again. Back again with our Wefobz Podcast. Episode 10, ladies and gents, boys and girls, you're here with Chieflott and Gray. Very heavy topics that we just went over previously with China and Russia, the word taboo, things that are taboo. We spoke on a lot of spirituality, religion, our views, our opinions. Man, we had some other heavy topics that are set, but I'd like to ask both of your permission. Can we put it for the next podcast? Because I want to take us to higher levels. Everybody's been deep into the discussions of their mind. They got to wrap their minds around what we just previously discussed. Is it okay with you, Chief and Gray, if I can put Fala Vilave and meth and domestic violence in our next podcast, our next upcoming podcast?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. A lot to talk about there, ladies and gents. We're gonna move those topics to our next podcast. I know we had it lined up for this podcast, but so much heaviness we gotta lighten up the mood a little bit. And I know this next topic is definitely gonna do that. So always tune in right here. Wefobz.io is where you want to visit. We also have our podcast tab up there, Wefobz.io/podcasts. Make sure you check that out if you ever want to find. But the topic that's going to put us on that high level, that high note, Iam Tongi, a bomb-ass singer he claims Kahuku, Tongan, but he's living out in Seattle, and he was on American Idol. This, gotta love this. He did something so spectacular, and I believe I'm gonna hand it off to my boy Chieflott. He will fill you all in on what's going on, because it is blowing up all over the social media feeds of our region and our networks. And Chief, speak to us. Speak to me and Greg, please. Iam Tongi.
Iam Tongi, oh man, my guy, bro. This is a deserving space or place or time right now to acknowledge one of our Pacific Islanders out there.
Yes.
in the, going out there and showcasing their talent, competing at the high levels of American Idol.
Entertainment at its finest. Wefobz Nation salutes you.
Yeah.
Hearing the story, it was so emotional. If you didn't have a chance to check it out, you got to go check out our young boy, man, our little brother, our little nephew, Iam Tongi.
Iam Tongi is the last name.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever get to see this one, man, but we calling it right now. We cheering you on, brother. Keep doing your thing. We're very excited for you. There's a lot of talent across all the Pacific regions. But this one, we want to dedicate this one for you, brother. Beautiful story. I'm sure your family's very proud of you. And we also wanted to acknowledge that we're proud of you as well, too, brother. Like, keep doing your thing.
Yes, I guess. Man, to add to that, Chief, man, I followed him on Facebook after you put me on to him and stuff. Bro, after listening to his music and that rendition of James Blunt's song, Monsters, it reminded me of the one singer. His voice reminded me of one singer, and I texted Chief. I messaged Chief. Was Brother Is, man. Like, it had that heartfelt connection when you hear that song rendition that Iam Tongi did for the American Idol judges. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, go out there, represent, brother. Like, again, we support you. We know you got your little golden ticket going to Hollywood.
Yeah, he got a golden ticket straight over to Hollywood.
So go out there, everybody. Check him out. Support the young nephew, man. Let him go do his thing. Prayers to you, Iam Tongi.
Hey, and like he said, he wants to make it so he can come back to Hawaii, to Kahuku.
Yeah, man. Ooh, we gonna go see a guy so smooth, man.
Big malo from us here, Wefobz Nation. We want to see you
it's
still
such a
climbing.
Beautiful thing, brother. I think it's a beautiful thing to see our young Pacific Islanders. I mean, entertainment, it's no secret that we don't only thrive in sports, football in particular. The music side of things, you're seeing a lot of these guys make moves, man. I look forward to start acknowledging some of you guys out there. Show our support from your Wefobz family, cheering you guys on, man. So I look forward to seeing him move on and expose all the other cool talents he probably has.
Check him out, ladies and gents. Iam Tongi, once again, search him. He's the hottest thing going on right now for the Polynesian community. I should say for the Oceanic community as a whole. Once again, that's what Wefobz represent. Iam is his first name, Iam, and then his last name is pronounced Tongi. They pronounce T as D, as he said on American Idol. It's Tongi is his last name. Look him up. Definitely somebody to keep an eye out. Beautiful. Okay, so now we come to the we're gonna start coming to the updates on Wefobz. So Chief and Gray, sit back, relax, and let me give you all the updates on Wefobz, because we have some great updates coming off of that high. Wishing Iam Tongi a great job, and keep going. For our updates on Wefobz, everybody check out our Wefobz website, and we got I put up a couple of things there for us on our bestseller section that you all need to go take a look at. I came across a pretty cool article from the news, from the AP News. It was talking about Amazon is putting on sale a bunch of mini homes, and that's what look like the U.S. people in the U.S. are into, getting into. How's it look from your guys' end? You guys ever heard about that? The mini home movement? Chief, Gray, any of you heard about the mini home movement that's going on?
Because a lot of people are, isn't there like, it's the same thing as the whole minimalist?
Yes,
idea.
Definitely.
And space and
it's exactly that. So Amazon has tiny homes back in stock and are even on sale. It's from a news article. written by Corin Miller. I looked at it. I was like, this is some pretty cool shit. I'm going to put it for sale on the Wefobz bestseller section. Go to the Wefobz bestseller section. We have some of those houses for sale. Running as low as $3,000. Wefobz.io.
Can you imagine?
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was thinking, golly, if they're doing all these little box homes, can you imagine if you were to put on the market a folio?
Well, it can be done.
Yeah.
You know what?
Seriously.
You know what, Chief? You know what, Greg? We're gonna do it. We're gonna find out how to do it. Because literally, I put those homes for sale on our Wefobz website. Go ahead, everybody, check it out. It's on our bestseller section, page 6, I believe. So, their prices are like from $3,000. Like Gray said, it can be done. I've seen it because I worked with a couple an organizer, or should I say a company that was able to get a customized boxing ring made. So I know that they can get a customized mini house made. But you want a mini folio like open like that? Like,
yeah, well, but that's the thing is that, like, I mean, the more you look at the times and the changes of the demands in society, I mean, look at this whole minimalist movement has led to how people are scaling back on a lot of things, you know,
a lot of
within their own
materialistic
homes
things. Yep.
and then even with businesses, and like how you had mentioned about the workforce today, people are silently quitting. And, you know, even though those are articles, I see them and I read them, but it's like, okay, it's not really big news. I feel like, especially in a capitalist country like America, it's always what's the next big thing to do. And I think with the whole housing crisis at this time and era, people are finding ways to, you know, live economically safe and to own their own home, whether it's a trailer or a box, or, you know. But my thing is that, I mean, now that you brought it up, well, we can do a folio. I mean, granted, it probably might not. I mean, you could probably still make it work even in where the northern.
Well, if you think about it, a folio is like a small gazebo, like literally, because you know.
Yeah, true story.
It can be done. It can be done. Like these companies that do it. One of the companies that I see selling houses on there is China. Man, when you work with China and getting stuff created, they're on it. But the U.S. is just as good. Companies in the U.S. are just as good at getting created. So we're gonna look into it. Wefobz is gonna look into it. Thank you, Gray. We're gonna give it over to our engineer section of the Wefobz Nation, right, Chief?
That's right. I'm giving you a folio to my back of my house too, man. Pretty cool.
But
you
check
know,
it out. Check it out.
I think it's I think it's funny because sometimes my siblings will take their kids out camping, and you know, but I always ask my siblings, like, why in the heck do you go camping? Like, we grew up in Samoa where you could sleep in the whakamalo, or, you know, sleep, you know, under the stars. And like, I go, golly, why would you want to do that out here? We did that growing up. You know what I mean? The sense of adventure. And I don't know about all that, but that just, I mean, if we're in that phase of minimizing, you know, scaling back on things and, you know, life or whatever, I think the folio could, I mean, that would be a win.
Well, I'm letting you two, giving you two a heads up, just like I'm giving our audience of the Wefobz Nation a heads up. We've got those small miniature houses that are for sale now on our site. It's pretty cool. Like I said, one of the highest prices I saw was $8,000. I didn't put the $8,000 ones on yet. I just got the highest one was like 4,000 something. But that's not bad for having a mini house out in the back of your house. It's something you can run away to, especially us guys, right, Chief? We need a quiet space sometimes, and we want to run away. I know, Gray, I know on the women's side they have that too, but the women, that you guys have all kinds of places you can go to, right?
No comment.
I don't have a basement, so I would not. I don't have a basement, so a man cave will be really nice.
Only man cave.
Well, so another big update on our Wefobz. I put up a bunch of videos for our hobby section, and those everyone can watch. These are live feeds from guysosmooth as I game in the gaming section for our hobbies, but there's also videos up on let's see what other instances for our podcast, for the podcast section. Before it was just a podcast that goes on Spotify and Anchor, but now you can see the videos from YouTube itself. The big tech companies are making moves, so we're trying to make sure we're in alignment with that. That's why this new avatar that everyone sees of me, a big tech company decided that they didn't want to have their product being used by another company. I will give you the name, so please. So Snap, the guys that do Snapchat, they had a thing called Snap Camera, and Snap Camera is how we're using our coconut avatars that Gray and Chief has. We used to be able to use that, but what happened was they discontinued the service. Snap discontinued the service. So that means third parties such as Zoom, which is another company, won't be able to use this service for free, but we can still, it's still there. It's still usable. It's just that when I had to try to go back and grab my coconut, it was gone because I did a little something to it technically, and I had to reload my program. Anyhow, long story short, ladies and gents, Wefobz Nation members, audience members, Gray and Chief, I don't have my avatar, my coconut avatar. It will probably come back in the future, but for now, you all have to put up with this handsome fella right here that laughs when I don't laugh at times, which is a little creepy, but yeah. Let's see if he laughs again. Laugh. Oh, there, he did it. He did it. Did you guys see? He did it. But that's the updates on our Wefobz, ladies and gents. Now we're going to come into the final topic of today. It's called following the market. Following the market is our way of following the money and how we're investing. We're not giving you any advice. We're not financial advisors of any kind, but we are putting you onto plays that we make and that we are interested in. And following the market, you already heard from, we talked about China and Russia that really affects the money, the power of the US dollar. One of the other things you want to watch out for is what's going on out in Ohio with that big train crash that happened. So that thing spewed toxic waste all over the place, and now it's looking like they're sending that toxic waste down to Texas. That affects a lot of things in the economy for the United States. It affects jobs, it affects people, and it may just affect the entire U.S. economy as a whole. One of the other things, the YouTube CEO of YouTube stepped down. I think it was earlier this week. YouTube's a big platform that we put our stuff on, put our videos on, our podcast on. The CEO, she stepped down, and her vice stepped up to take her position. I think it was due to health reasons. That's a big change right there. Will also affect where the market is heading in terms of big technology. Elon Musk came out with his mind-blowing, they're calling it his mind-blowing Tesla Cybertruck. So Chief, real quick question before I go on with this topic. Are you interested in getting one, Tesla?
Yeah, I think I may have been registered to get one.
Awesome.
It's been a minute.
Awesome.
I think 2 years ago when it was announced. So $1,000 down. Hold it. So yeah, man. I look forward to.
Man, that's beautiful. Beautiful. How about you, Greg? You thinking of getting a Tesla? There's Cybertrucks coming out.
Nope. I think my end goal this year is to eventually get a beach cruiser.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, 2.0 up and down the street.
Well, the reason why we bring up Teslas and we bring up cars is because cars also make the economy go round. Tesla is a big player within the car market with the way they've been doing electric vehicles. Sadly, though, within current news, one of the things they're having problems with is the charging network for electric cars. The charging network was it was owned by Tesla, right? Throughout the United States. Tesla owns a bunch of charging networks. And so the US government is stepping up and say, hey, open up your charging network so other competitors can put their stuff in there. Right? So this was the Biden administration to Elon Musk saying, open it up so other competitors can put their stuff in there, but they're going to pay you anyways for it. And we'll give you incentives like the tax breaks that you get. But if you don't open it up, you're not going to get the tax breaks that the US government's been giving you all this time. So it's going to be on board, Chief boy Elon Musk to figure out what he wants to do. And Chief, I know you're going to say he's going to open it up, right?
Oh, absolutely. He'll open up.
Yeah, he'll open up. He's not one of those. He knows what's coming. He knows where it's going, and everybody has to go through him anyways to get their stuff charged. That's a whole new revenue generator right there. But hope you can all look to see within the markets more electric vehicles coming out, because Chrysler already has theirs coming out, and Mercedes already has theirs coming out. Speaking of Mercedes, also in following the market, TikTok is working together with Mercedes to bring TikTok to you into the car, which is a collaboration. That's funny. Chief, we're big users of TikTok too within our platform, right? Gray, we do that. But on another news, it says the U.S. government and the politicians and a couple of other entities within the U.S. organizations are trying to look to see if they want to ban TikTok due to its ties to China. This is going to be interesting to see play out for everyone in terms of where your money goes, because I know there's content creators from our communities that make a living off of TikTok, right? Right, Chief? You all know some of them?
No. But it's like any other social media platform that's marketing. I think that's like, I almost feel like that's like a threat just to kind of, get China to be on the same page, but it's just like the same thing with Russia and China, that whole relationship. I mean,
and you brought it up and you said it that I told you about it, which is, yes, I did tell you about it. China has a problem now with the millennials telling their Generation Z bosses that, hey, we're not going to work because China works at 9 to 6, meaning they work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. So the millennials right now are telling their bosses, nope, we're not going to do no overtime other than what we want to work. We're just going to do the required hours. But in the Chinese culture, it is etiquette to work overtime if your boss is there. And this goes back to our topic of taboos. It's taboo to try to go against what the boss is. But Chinese millennials don't even give a damn no more. They're wanting the power to have their own work the way, work in better conditions, I guess is what to say, right?
Why work a 9 to 9 when you can just work for TikTok and make your own money and be your own boss?
Yeah. And then, if the U.S. government starts saying that we're going to ban TikTok, and as we say, that's you're going to take my bread away from me? Seriously?
I think there was a study that was done on why the pros and cons of like short videos and what it does to your brain, how it's horrible for our younger generation just because of how it impacts their ability to not just gauge, educational stuff versus, garbage material. And so, I honestly, I don't really care for it.
But it's one of those things, it's good to know, right? Like it's good to have a background knowledge. So carrying on as we come into the closing of our following the market, one of the other things everyone should be this is things you should be aware of. So in the stock market is acting funny. It's up and then it's down. It's up and then it's down. Meaning companies are buying and then companies are selling at the same time. Then you go over to the cryptocurrency market, and the cryptocurrency market starts popping, meaning everybody's their money, their cryptocurrency value is up in the skies. Bitcoin is costing a lot, back up at $24,000 again. And it's like breaking 25, but then it comes down, it drops, like it really drops hard again. And this is all happening with a matter of minutes, even currently, till while I'm giving you both these updates, it's actually currently happening at the moment. But the market that everybody should be watching for, because it's also for homeowners and for people looking to own a home, is the housing market, which looks like it's crashing. Like it's crashing, meaning a lot of housing prices are coming down, way down. Keep an eye on that if you're a homeowner, looking to buy a home and things like that. We're keeping an eye on. It's not financial advice. It's just what the plays that we are on to. Whew. Let me see. Is there anything else I may have missed? Nope. I think I got everything. That's our. That's a lot of the news. Finally. And this goes for California, Greg. It is out in your area. I guess California is doing a big crackdown on prostitution.
That is
It's a big crackdown on prostitution currently ongoing, and as they're
I don't mean to sound like a Debbie Downer, but prostitution is never going to go extinct. It's like one of the what's that phrase? The oldest
it's the oldest business out there, I guess.
Yeah.
Since the days of the Wild West.
And
or even before the Wild West days, I believe.
Yeah. It's not going anywhere, I think, and I say that with a conscience, because I don't agree with it, but I also understand the realities of it. And so
Well, I want to add to that. I do, the don't agree part is good, because what they're saying here in the news and why it's important for us in following the market. It's because it deals a lot with human trafficking, which is big time playing out there, and that's why it's related to following the market here. Is I think it's a big chunk of economy in California, and California's economy accounts for a big chunk of economy of the U.S. So what happens in Cali actually affects what happens in the U.S. So we're following. Wefobz has got our eye on that. Ladies and gents.
I kind of feel like, and this may be so far off, is that it kind of goes hand in hand with anything that involves human trafficking is also going to involve a lot of drug trafficking. And we're at the borders of, Mexico and California and Arizona and Texas. And so it's like you have a lot of countries that are infiltrating the United States through these borders. And because I feel like the immigration laws, at least here in California, have, and probably slowly across the nation, they're not lax, but it's allowing
a lot for that to happen, like you said. Which, because it's a double-edged sword, like you said. It's good for people who are doing good here, but then again, then it allows in the criminals and the people that are starting to push things across border lines, right? And then it goes. I want to put it back to what Gray was putting on Chief. Please don't lose my train of thought. We were talking about drugs, borders. We were talking about immigration, and then back to the right here, back to following the market. Please carry on, Gray. I lost my train of thought. I had a big comment, but I'm gonna get it. Just carry on. Just keep talking. I'm gonna get it back. Because you say with the borders, they're crossing the borders. I think we were tying it into prostitution and stuff.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand. I mean, golly, if you're using mind altering substances, the chances of you engaging in other unsafe behaviors is a lot higher than making safe choices. And I think that with countries that are not don't have strong regulations about substances and human rights, you're probably going to have a lot of factories of um, illegal substances being made or manufactured in those countries. And so the US of A is land of milk and honey. You bring that stuff here and it just makes the world go round. And with that also comes, the people who bring it and the folks. And yeah, so
well,
all the fun
great.
stuff.
You helped me get my train of thought back, and I got it back, and I had to look up a couple of articles. Chief, great, check this out, because remember the legalization of weed, how it was going, and California was one of the leading states pushing it, right? California, Colorado. And then what they said during that time was, if you legalize weed, it will bring down crime rates because, weed will become accessible to a lot of people who it was not accessible to, and the value of weed would come down, right? That's what they were saying, which it kind of had done, right? It kind of worked out into that by data that's been shown over the time that it was legalized. Now, I think we were talking about it. They're looking to legalize mushrooms, right?
That's so weird.
Mushrooms are legalized already, aren't they? I think they're selling mushrooms legalized in some states. Isn't California one of them? Let me check.
I think, I honestly, I don't know, but I know that it's commonly used. I don't know.
Okay, no, California is trying to. There's a bill that was introduced by a Scott Wiener. Senate Bill 58. They're trying to legalize mushrooms. Anyhow, what am I trying to say? So one of the arguments for legalizing these types of drugs is that when you legalize drugs, you bring down the criminality of the drug, and then the criminals can't get they're not able to drive up the value of trying to purchase these things. That's what an argument that was made for why you should legalize. And then Gray's bringing out, like, yes, they do bring over all these things with it, and immigration looks a little, she said it, she didn't want to say it, call it lax, but it does. Lenient is probably the word, right?
Yeah, lenient, but also it gives people more opportunity to become a part of to basically be here legally. And I mean, that's I don't know, because then you look at the other Americans who've came in the way that they came in, as far as like going through the whole process with immigration and having to pay their dues to take
society.
Yeah, to society. So it's kind of like I have a lot of farm worker friends and peers whose families came in and worked in the fields. And so it's kind of sad, because their parents put them through school, put them through college, and they earned everything they have today to where you're going to have other individuals who come in the way that they come and not really having to really experience what it takes to understand and appreciate the value of being a U.S. citizen.
Like, they cut the lines and get it, and they're benefiting off of it. So
yeah, but then so some situations, I guess you could say, it's probably not to say that it's okay, but some people are here through the asylum, and so I get that part. However, sometimes it goes back to personal responsibility of every nation and country to their folks. And this is kind of like I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, but because I'm grateful to be a American. However, sometimes some situations are not ours to try to be a part of as an American. And going back to what you were saying, Lots, it's kind of like you got to leave some countries alone and let them deal with their own stuff, and focus on what we're doing or what we need to do in the United States as far as like the crisis, the different crises that are occurring, not just with homelessness, but with human trafficking and sex trafficking. I mean, my goodness, there's like so many political and public and social issues. It's sometimes it's baffling to hear that we can invest and put so much money into different countries, which I'm not opposed to. However, if it's such a crisis here and we're vested into these different nations across the world, how does that look?
Well, I know I can say, and I think speaking from, I'm not the actual head to speak for it, but it's the greed and the money. That's the only reason the U.S. is in the other. We all agreed that that's the only reason they're in these other nations. It's money. They're there to make money off of that nation's people. No matter what we say or do, man, we could bring up social issues, whatever. They don't care. They're not gonna focus on that. What they're gonna focus on is the bottom line. They're gonna focus on, okay, how much do we make off of India? How much do we make off of China? All ties back to Wefobz the Nation, back to our following the market. California, lots going on in California. You definitely keep an eye on California because California can affect about like whether the U.S. is doing good or not. And then you already see the stuff that's going on down there. They're cracking down. They're trying to crack down on a business that, Gray, like she said, it's been there for a while. Prostitution, even though it's illegal, but it's been there for a while. And with all that cracking down, all that money going into there, it could be spent in we do agree it could be spent in other better places, but they're just not going to spend it in those places because they want to have their share of the pie. They want to have their cake and eat it. So when you follow the market like that, you know where these things head. Go ahead, Greg. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think a lot of it too is just like how the policies are set into place in every county or state. There's different demands in every county and state and with the different populations, and so I hate even thinking about how the political realm has to
well, those policies are only going to benefit the people who put them in play, and the people who put them in play are the people with big cash money in their pockets.
Yeah, they do benefit from it, but it's also the people who it impacts. And sometimes it's almost like, that's why I say this respectfully, like we have a broken system, but we have a system. And for some reason it works. It's just a matter of, I feel like it works just because if you understand the system, it gives you a better gauge and understanding of where the loopholes are at. And so long as, at least, I guess this is me justifying my reasons, is so long as you understand where the loopholes are and you can use it accordingly, legally and ethically, to where it would benefit not just yourself, but the greater good of whether it's you, your community, and so forth. And I mean, I think for me, I can sleep at night because at the end of the day, I can say, well, I'm a taxpayer. I didn't run a red light today. I stopped at the stop sign. And, I didn't jaywalk. But I mean, there's so much, yeah. Anyhow, it's Friday in California, by the way.
Yeah, it is, right? Over there, especially in Reno, right, Chief?
Oh, it's Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost there. 2 more hours for us here in the Aloha land. But man, I want to add on to that because, we all feel proud that we're American. And we want to say that. I say that from the bottom of my heart, that we could have these privileges that are here today from a lot of those. They always say it, which is right. The people who fought for those privileges for us based on the system that is also put into place. This system that is, like you said, it may be broken. People can say it's broken. You say it's broken, Gray, but we do have a system. I've been to other countries that don't have this system. Like literally, I've personally been to these countries. They have their own beauty in of itself, but just having a system like this is, I think, why the envy of the world, because the freedoms we have, like the different freedoms that we have, the freedom to say what we want to say and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even though at times they're like, the privileges. These privileges are the envy of the world.
Yes.
And the envy of a lot of rival countries. And this is why these wars come about, and these conflicts and cold wars, hot war, you name it. But Chief, you want to say anything else before we start saying a little bit more and closing out this topic, and then thus closing out our podcast about our following the market? Because I'm just going to give final thoughts on my following the market, and then I'll let you two give your final thoughts on the entirety of the show. All good?
Carry on.
Okay. All right. So with close, well, as I'm going to close out the market, taking into account what Gray has said, and as Chief listens to what we're talking about too as well, ladies and gents, just be aware of the things that are going on in the world today, and why people are saying that it's a bear market, or why people are saying things are very expensive. It's a lot to do with the United States wanting to be in other countries and trying to say that other countries want to have their independence, or want to have their freedom from another opposing country power. People are not getting along right now. Where does that leave you? How can you be prepared for the future? Our plays on how we're preparing for is we're keeping watch of all these things, and we're making sure we invest into companies that we believe in. This was previously discussed, like companies that we know moving forward they're going to have value, and then what we invested into them will come back to us, we're hoping, in tenfold. So that's all we have for following the market with the Wefobz Nation. Ooh, we hope you enjoyed that. Well, Ray, Chief, what y'all think about the show? Give us some final thoughts. We leave our Wefobz Nation members and audience. Let's go.
Great show tonight, man. I love your new avatar, brother.
I like it, but remember I told you all it starts laughing out of nowhere. Like he starts going, like shaking his head like he's laughing. It's creepy. Man, I miss my coconut though.
Yeah, like and subscribe to everybody out there listening, man.
Yeah.
A great episode for episode 10, I believe. There's more to come, man. Again, shout out to my boy Iam.
Iam
out there
Tongi.
doing something. Like anything, brother. Cheering you on. Yeah. Always good to be chilling with the crew right here. Miss Gray. You know, Guys So Smooth, and your boy Chieflott. Salute, yo.
Gray, any shout outs, closing thoughts?
No, not really, other than balance.
Ooh, Chief,
balance.
That was a good one. Gray just gives us these beautiful gems that we keep, right? Like, man. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, we're leaving you with that final thought right there. Have balance in your life. We love you all. We hope to see you on our next podcast here at Wefobz. Chief, duty on us. Wefobz!